Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a front brake job on this 2003 GMC Sonoma. This truck has perfectly good brakes, so you don't see me replacing them, but I do just take them apart and put them back together so you can understand how to get the new parts from 1A Auto and install them correctly. Brake job on this truck is the same as any GMC, the Sonoma S-15 pickup, or the Jimmy, as well as the Chevy S-10 pickup and Blazer. Tools you'll need are jack and jack stands, 18 and 19 millimeter sockets, ratchet handle, and a pipe or breakup bar. You'll need those because you'll probably need some extra leverage on some of those bolts. An 18 millimeter wrench with an additional wrench, and you'll see how I use that. A large C-clamp and a new pad and rotor kit available from 1AAuto.com, as well as a large flat blade screwdriver. Start by raising and removing the wheel and tire. If you don't have access to impact tools, you'll want to loosen the lug nuts with the tire on the ground, then raise it and support it with a jack stand, and again remove the lug nuts and remove the wheel and tire.
The wheel off, you can check the condition of your brakes. The rotor, you want to just check the surface. Okay, run your fingernail up along it if you don't feel any deep grooves. That's what you want. You can see that there's still a good lip on this rotor, so we know the rotor is still plenty wide enough. You can look here. Let's see. If you look back in here, you can see there's the pad, and you can see there's plenty of life left on the pad. So these brakes are in good shape, but I'm going to show you how to take them apart and put them back together. Next thing you want to do is take the caliper off, which you remove these two bolts here. Okay, before you remove those bolts, what you can do is loosen the caliper up from the pads and rotor. Take a large screwdriver and put it right into this hole and pry out slowly. Okay. And that forces the pistons back into the caliper. These bolts are 18 millimeter.
I'll speed it up here. You can see it takes some force to get them going, but it shouldn't take too much. They shouldn't be on there too tight. I'm just using a regular size ratchet and removing those.
Okay. Now the caliper comes right up on off, and then you can right up here. Okay, here's your pads. And they should just kind of pull right out. Screwdriver. Pry this back one out. You can see right here, this is a kind of a wear indicator. Plenty of life left in that pad. Okay, if you need to remove and replace your rotor, you're going to need to remove this caliper bracket, which is two more bolts. One there, and then one up here. Okay, these bolts are 19 millimeters as well. I'm going to use my ratchet, and I'll put a piece of pipe on here. It's going to help me get some more leverage. Okay. This one's so close to the control arm, you'll have to use a wrench. So I put my 18 millimeter wrench on there. Okay, put another wrench on here like that. Gives me more leverage. Okay. I can loosen it up.
And speed it up here again as after I get them loose, I remove those two bolts the rest of the way.
Okay, So now you take the bracket off. And with that bracket off, the rotor comes right off. And again, this one is in good shape, so we can put it back on. Put this back, and you put it between the rotor and your steering knuckle. Put the bolt back in. Thread that top one, bottom one in, snug it up.
And again, speed up here as I just thread those bolts in and kind of get them preliminarily tightened up.
Okay, since you can't get a conventional torque wrench on there, what I do is get it about as tight as you can with your first wrench, and hook your second wrench on here, and just probably pull it another 1/16 of a turn or so. Okay, the bottom one, you want to tighten it to 100 foot-pounds. You want to reset the pistons in your caliper. What I've done is I put my old pad back in there on the inside, and then I have a C-clamp, and I'll tighten up this C-clamp, and that will force the pistons back into the caliper. And I can remove the C-clamp, remove the pad, and you can see my pistons here are back down in the caliper. Okay, so I'm going to put my now I'm going to put my pads back in. They have these little metal tabs on them that have to be there. That's how they kind of slide in back and forth in the cast iron. Okay. Front ones, same thing. Okay, so you can see pads are in, and you want to make sure the pads can move back and forth nice and freely. Okay, now we're going to take our caliper, and you want to just kind of push the boots in, put it down that way, then pull this boot down here in, and put it down in place. Make sure that these bolts are nice and clean, a little light coating of grease on them. Okay, they go right in.
And speed up here as we just thread those bolts in.
And then you want to torque these to about 55 foot-pounds.
Okay, and speed up again as we mount that wheel and tire, and then you thread the lug nuts on by hand first. Make sure you don't cross thread them, and then we'll use a torque wrench, or an impact wrench. Just tighten them up preliminarily, lower the vehicle down on the ground, and torque them to 100 foot-pounds using a star pattern as you're tightening them. And then most importantly, before you road test your car, make sure you pump your brakes a bunch. That'll kind of reset the pistons into the right spot. Do a test stop from 5 and 10 miles an hour before you go out on the road. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.oneauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.